Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 7th Tour de Tools already. Tour de Tools is it's becoming frequent thing where me and Gauthier discuss frameworks, tools, methodologies, and often have very interesting guests that know these tools or frameworks much better than us. But today we have a very exciting guest. I'm gonna let Gauthier present him.
Yeah, so today we're welcoming Denzel. So Denzel is actually calling us from Singapore, where it is currently 5 p.m., which is pretty okay. So Denzel is currently undergoing as a student for a PhD in robotics, but around this topic, he found it cumbersome basically to overcome the experience of learning to train and deploy a deep learning model for vision. And he still sees at the moment a lot of researchers going through the same challenges. So this is why he founded, with two other co-founders, Datature, of which he's also the CTO, with the clear objective to democratize computer vision capabilities. And let's say their long-term goal is really to democratize this and to let everyone be able to build their next breakthrough AI projects in minutes without code. So without further notice, let's welcome Denzel to our podcast. I hope I did not forget anything.
Welcome, Denzel.
Yeah, that's a great introduction. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey. Very nice that you joined us. Maybe you can jump right to the topic. Like, you're the CTO of Datature. Like, what does Datature do?
So Datature, we are basically a computer vision startup. So we have actually built this no-code platform that allows users to process their image or video data and to train the models with us. As well, we also to help them with the deployment of this model. So what we really do is to help them build this end-to-end pipeline of a computer vision framework without a single line of code. Yep.
Sounds very exciting. I'm really looking forward to see it. I think there are a lot of these type of initiatives that sound super cool. But I think always the challenge in my eyes is always a bit like, how do you still retain the flexibility that in some cases you need? And so I'm really looking forward to see how you solve these things.
Yeah. So I think that during as we are looking at the competitive landscape within this industry, we saw that there's a lot of tools out there that specialize in certain pillars, right? You actually have companies that focus in annotations, companies that purely focus in training, things like that. But we realized that there's not one unified platform where you can just do everything at one place. So to use all these different tools, you have to port your data in to do annotations, port it out, port it into another company to do training, and so on and so forth. And while transferring of this data, you may bump into like errors, data error, data cleanliness error, or you might need to modify the data in order to fit into these companies with specific focus. Yeah, so I mean that is one of the main reason why at Datature we really aim to cover the full spectrum of the whole the computer vision pipeline. Yeah.
Okay, that's super interesting. Like, how did you attack this? Like, did you say, okay, like we see all these tools, and I guess some of them are probably open source, and you said, okay, like we're gonna make something a bit bigger, but we are going to integrate with them? Or did you say, like, we think, let's say we can do something a bit better, and we were going to build everything ourselves, all these different steps and pillars?
So of course we do tap on some of the open source tools out there in the industry. I mean, there's no point reinventing the wheel. So things like the TensorFlow, our base neural network language that we use, or libraries that we use, is a TensorFlow. So what I would say that the secret sauce at Datature is really we have blocks of highly optimized bug-free code. So users can actually build their whole I would say like a computer vision workflow through a drag and drop interface. So I would say you can think of it as a block programming for setting up deep learning pipelines. Yeah, so all these codes are highly created by us. We deal with like hardware errors. If you were to try to install like GPU accelerated training, you tend to bump to like CUDA errors, things like that, NVIDIA driver errors. Yeah, I mean they have been quite hellish for me when I was trying to install them by myself. So we deal with all these things to make sure.
Your take to set this up correctly. Yeah, like if you start from scratch, you need to do a lot of things that are most likely out of your comfort zone. Like typically the people tackling this are people that know very well how to build machine learning models, but how do you set up the right infrastructure for this? How do you make sure that you can use these models? Like there's a lot of extra components from the moment that you want to have this full A to Z workflow, right?
Yeah, so what we really do is we really, as we were developing, we really try to develop from the first step. So the first thing that we really developed was our own annotation tool, right? Because we said that we really want to make sure user can stay on our platform throughout the whole journey. So that is where we actually started. Then we actually traveled down the pipeline where we then tackle the training element of it. And then now I would say our focus is really to help people with hosting of their models as well. Yeah. So we are hoping to sort of complete the full circle within the next couple of months.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you see because I understand like there is an end-to-end pipeline, but did you see where did people struggle the most? Like was it on annotation? Was it on deployment? Was it like what was really the hardest part for people?
Yeah. So I would say that the based on what we see in our customer, so at this stage of like the whole computer vision scene, right? I would say annotation is no longer a problem. It's more like a hassle that people just don't want to do it. But we do see people having problems with the training portion, where especially when you're trying to do multi GPU training, right? How do you like integrate 2 GPUs to do training, things like that? And then also another big part that I personally see, which is a challenge in the research industry, is a lot of researchers do not really know how to deploy their model for production. So they will tend to deal in Jupyter notebooks or Google Colab. So they don't really know what's the things out there that can help them to host these models. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds recognizable.
Can imagine.
I think you prepared a little bit of a demo to really show the platform, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let me share my screen.
Maybe just a quick intro before we start this. Like, how long did you start building Datature? So we also have an idea of what we're going to see or hold it is.
Yeah. So Datature started back in late 2019, and we actually focused on the development of this platform for about a year, and finally we actually managed to launch it publicly through Product Hunt from last month. And since then we actually gotten quite a good traction. There are people who actually been contacting us regularly to ask us more about our development roadmap, because they are more keen on building their application on top of our infrastructure. So they will want to use us as like a training engine or a model hosting engine for their applications. Yeah. Okay. So without further ado, so let me show you our Datature platform. Yeah. So Datature computer vision platform is called Nexus, and Nexus is a web application. So you can access it through any browser, and especially I think one of the perks is also you are able to access the platform on an iPad. Yeah. So what I have here is a demo account that we typically pass to some of our clients for them to explore. So we are an industry agnostic platform. So what you are looking now is actually our project dashboard. So you can actually see that we have projects that covers a wide range of industries, from medical to FMCG to infrastructure. So we are able to simultaneously manage different projects, and that's something that some of the enterprise customer are actually interested, where they concurrently have to manage a few of their models that they train, so they can simultaneously manage it all on a single platform. right? So I'll be creating a new project today, and I'll be conducting a training live for everyone to see. Yeah. So I will just use one of the public available data set, which is the red blood cell data set. So right now, Datature, we support object detection models as well as segmentation models. Classification models is a part of our roadmap, which we'll be pushing it out down the road. So, but for today, I'll be demonstrating the object detection model. Okay, so I'll just name the projects.
What it means, like what are the two different models doing? I mean, object detection, I can know what it does, but the other one, for example, I don't know.
Yeah. So object detection model is basically you're dealing mainly with bounding boxes. So whenever you do a prediction, there will just be a box around that object. For segmentation, you will predict mask. So I have an image here. Let me just show the image. Sorry. I hope everyone is able to see it. So so there's a three main pillar in computer vision models. So the first one is classification, whereby we are not able to localize the object. Then we have detection, whereby it's just a bounding box around the object itself. And then lastly, we have segmentation, whereby we are able to localize and generate the mask that overlays the specific object. Yeah. So right now we are supporting the two on the right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So once you have created a project, what you actually need to do is to onboard some images. So if you see on the left for the project overview tab, so the steps are actually in sequence. So you actually start dealing with images first, then you can actually upload some images. So I will now upload a set of training images, just a small set containing of 200 over image. And then we understand that, some customers, right, they have actually their own annotations that they have done elsewhere, perhaps through a third-party service provider, or or they were doing it before they found our platform. So we actually support our own. We actually support import of annotations, so both bounding box and polygons.
Okay.
And we also we actually also support export of annotations.
Right. Nice.
So we are really trying to be developer focused. We are really trying to make sure that anyone can continue their journey with us, even though they have some existing tools that they have been using.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Something I can imagine as well is people having a live system. Or is this like, for example, let's say I have a database that stores my images. Can I somehow integrate this without having to, let's say, upload them manually? Or I guess you have an API. Or is this somewhere in the plans, or do we have always to go through, let's say, flat files to be able to upload this?
Yeah, so actually that's one of the more popular feature requests that we have been getting.
Okay.
So it's actually it's actually part of our immediate pipeline to accept like connections with other service provider like S3 or Google Cloud Buckets and things like that. Yeah, so definitely I think down the road we will be able to directly users will be able to directly upload without having to manually drag and drop the images. Yeah, that's a possibility. Okay, so I will now upload some annotations. Let me just grab the annotations. Yeah, so I'll just dump a CSV file that contains all the annotations. Yeah, so our annotation tool or annotator supports both the bounding box annotations as well as polygon annotations. So I'll be going through in more details in a short while. Just give it some time for the annotations file to upload. Yeah. So if you were to see this tab here, collaborator. So as I said, one of the features for the paid user is also to allow collaboration between users, right? So users can concurrently annotate the same data set in real time together. Okay, so once we have uploaded,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, just a quick question,
Sorry.
like, because I can imagine I as a human will make mistakes annotating stuff, and somebody might make mistakes as well. Do you somehow support people annotating the same stuff, and then being able to say, like, I see 3 people annotate exactly the same thing. This is probably right, or maybe 3 people annotated different things. So we have at least to consider this as being maybe badly annotated data.
So we see that the typical behavior for developer teams right now using our annotator is more of like a few people will annotate the data set separately first. Then there will be a manager that actually combs through
Okay.
the data set to see like are there any mislabel and things like that. But so one of the I guess one of the cool feature requests that we have been getting also for the annotations is also like a built-in chat, so that like users can actually talk to each other. A team can actually talk to each other to say that, hey, you have actually mislabeled this portion. Can you redo it? Things like that. Yeah. Okay.
I assume, or that's what I see in real life, is that also typically these are different people that do these, like annotations. Like for this data set is a very good one, red blood cells. Like you need very much domain knowledge to be able to do this, and this is not necessarily the same person that will build the model, right? So it's important to be able to do this with multiple people.
Yeah, I can especially imagine something, let's say, more simple that requires less skills than this. You could take a bunch of students to do it. Like, you don't want to pay people with a PhD to annotate.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most common thoughts that everyone have. So we actually do work with some third-party annotation service provider. So everyone, even myself, right, I find annotations quite a hassle. So so what happened is we do have clients that once they upload their data, we actually give temporary access to our partners for them to annotate. Yeah. So of course we do ensure that the data absolutely stays on our platform, and that we actually can we actually do see if someone actually tempted to download the data. Of course we will have disabled the download feature for this third-party service provider that comes in to annotate. So so they will actually just come in, they will just we'll add them as a collaborator to your project. They will annotate
Cool.
everything for you, and then they will just leave. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So as you can see that we actually have some annotations that have been uploaded. So as I was saying, we support both bounding box annotations. So I can just draw a bounding box. I can just edit the size if I want. I can change the tab, things like that. And then as well as I also we also support like polygon for segmentations. Yeah.
Cool.
So I would say some of the additional features for annotations is we are able to adjust the contrast of the image. So this particularly has been very helpful for materials and medical data set, because sometimes we want the features to really pop, so that it makes it easier for people to annotate. So users can actually adjust some of the image settings to really highlight the things that they want to annotate, as you can see here.
And this is really purely like only applied for annotation. It's not that this propagates to the actual machine learning model.
Yeah. So for the actual machine learning model itself, which I'll show in a while, there's actually an augmentation block for you to choose the type of augmentations you want to conduct for your whole machine learning pipeline. Yeah. So I mean, once you're done with annotations, we can actually move on to the next step, which is to come up with your own machine learning workflow. Okay, so I just create a workflow. So this is really the part that I was talking about. Like, it's very similar to block programming. So I'll just call it like perhaps cell detection. Right. So what we can do is we can just create a very simple workflow for now, just a dataset block that connects to an augmentation block. And then, you can just choose one of the models that we have. Currently, we support over almost like 20 to 30 different model architecture with different backbone. Okay, so I will just choose a mobile net, which is one of our smallest model. And then you can just simply connect them up. Yeah. And then of course you can go into specific blocks to change the specific parameters. So I'll just set train test speed to 2. And just now you have a question whether the modified image setting, where can we actually make some changes to the image for training, right? And this is the place where you actually can do the specific augmentations for the training itself. So what we really hope is also to cater towards like users of varying experience, ranging from those novice users all the way up to very experienced users. So we actually have, throughout our platform, you will see things like advanced mode, where if you are someone with a greater experience level, you can actually toggle the advanced mode and you can actually modify the specific variable of each augmentations. Yep. Otherwise, you will only, just simply enable it if you want, and we will just use the default value for you at the backend. Yeah. So let's just do something very simple. Just do some horizontal flips and vertical flip.
How, like, can you let's say would I be able to chain blocks that don't make sense? Like, is there something kind of helping me? Like, I see you. Like after an augmentation, you can only do this, or those things, or I could really go wild and
yes.
Make
so we actually have an integrity checker. So if you start to connect, things that doesn't make sense, we will actually throw an error and provide some advice on how to connect. Yeah, correct.
Maybe a question a bit linked to this is that so this interface makes it super accessible. I mean, it looks super intuitive. So that allows you to onboard these novice users. But I can imagine like a novice user doesn't know what a Retina MobileNet V2 is. Like, do you document this? Do you have tutorials? Like how do you try to educate these novice users?
Yes, so we actually try to do it in through 2 avenues. So one is we actually have a documentations that you can find through our website. Then the second thing is from time to time we will release like tutorial videos or even like articles to just to talk about how to train a model through our platform. Yeah. So we try to break it down to the specific details that user can find it like easy to follow and to train their own models.
Okay. Yeah. Are there do you have, for example, I can imagine that something very standard, and then I, as somebody that has maybe less machine learning experience, could say, I know my data set is not this data set, so I'm just, for example, take this full pipeline that somebody with a lot more experience than me developed, but I'm just going to change a few things here, a few things there, really just the stuff that I know and the stuff that I don't know, I let it as is because it's probably better than what I can do. Do you have things like that where you can pull in, let's say, a pipeline that somebody has done already and just change a few things?
I think that is the first time we actually hear this suggestion, which I personally think is quite a good suggestion. But the two other sort of like the ways that we are thinking of making it more accessible is really to come up with like model hubs and dataset hub. So for users that have trained their own models before and they don't mind it being publicly accessible, right, then we'll actually put it on a model hub so that another user, they can actually just tap on existing resources to do whatever they need. Yeah. So, but definitely I will talk to the development team to see whether can we also, put this thing like maybe like a workflow hub for other users as well.
Maybe it's just a bad idea.
Yeah. So okay, so once we can once just change some of these parameters. So I'll just train a 3000 epoch batch size 8 model, and then you just need to click bottom right, which is to run training. So this is the part where users actually configure their more so of the hardware configurations. So as I mentioned, we actually support a GPU accelerated training, and one of the key advantage that this platform can bring is we allow like multi GPU training seamlessly. So users really just have to click the number of GPUs they want to train on, the type of GPUs they want to train on. And right now we are actually partnered with Google Cloud.
Yeah.
So we are extremely scalable. We are able to tap on Google's GPU resources and scale according to what the user need. Okay, and for the checkpoint strategy, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so for the checkpoint strategy, users can choose either lowest evaluation loss or highest accuracy. Here you can see there's also advanced option where users with high experience can, control more of the training parameters. And over here, they can even tag onto the specific metric that they want to capture in order to train the best model out there. So I'll just tag on the localization loss, and then just do a evaluation interval of every 250 steps. And then lastly, we allow some of the consulting firms out there that are trialing with us. This is one of the features that they actually requested, which is to do some sort of like a limiter. So sometimes because we run by quota, right? So sometimes they actually only want to train the model for, let's say, 60 minutes, and they do not really know how long 60 minutes will take if they train like 3000 epoch. So we actually limit for them. Once 60 minutes is up, we can actually stop the training for them, things like that, which will actually help them save more money in the long run. Okay, but for today, I'll just train a no limit model.
Question before you hit that green button. So
Yeah.
because I see you have an information button next to other acceleration checkpoint strategy. Like, what happens if you click there? I just wonder. Like, I know what it is. It provides really information on what this is basically.
Yeah. So we actually provide we provide some information. Of course, we will still face problems when the user set some unrealistic settings, such as like maybe 1000 batch size. That would definitely crash like any GPUs that we can have, right? So things like that. So these are just some of the informative tooltip for the users to take note of, and regardless of which tab you are in for the training for the whole platform, right? If you see the top right, there's actually a link to our community Slack, and over there you can actually just chat with any of our developers to find out more. Let's say if you encounter any technical difficulties, or if you want to do feature requests, or even to just explore some of the use cases you might have, you can actually do it through our community Slack right here.
Okay.
Okay, so I will just start the training. Okay, so what happened here is we are actually sending a training job to the cloud to do this training. And once the training starts, you can actually close the app, itself, go about doing your own things, and then come back to monitor, or to even take a look at it. Yeah. So you don't really have to constantly stare at it. Yeah.
Can you have notifications? I could imagine I would want, for example, a small notification on my phone if my training job finished.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just ran out of quota for this account.
Too fast.
Yeah. So, this is a developer, a demo account. So we try not to let the users run the training. Yeah. But so back to the notifications question. If you see at the top right, we actually have a notification icon, which is something that we are currently developing. It's still not up yet, but this is one of the main features that we are pushing out in this moment. It will do exactly what you mentioned, which is to provide you with notifications whenever a training starts, or whenever a training completes, and things like that. Okay. So I'll just show the other red blood cell projects that we have that
Maybe
is in
while
the
you're switching, we can just quickly put the question on screen that we got from the audience, from Ricardo.
Okay.
He's asking if there's, so we have the input format here is images, and he's asking if there is any support currently or maybe on the roadmap for other type of inputs like 3D point cloud or videos.
Yeah, so our immediate support we actually do video processing for some of our enterprise client, but right now we are sort of like having like a closed beta trial with them, and then subsequently we will actually integrate it back into the main platform once we iron out all the possible bugs and stuff. So I would say that the first additional support we will be pushing out will be for video.
Interesting.
I have one question. Like, so let's because you mentioned it. Let's say I really don't know what I'm doing, and I put some really variables that are really bad. Like, what kind of feedback will I get from the tool if my training job fails for whatever reason?
So right now, we categorize the errors into three main types. So just now you saw the out of quota error. So out of quota, I mean, pretty straightforward. It's just you do not have the necessary compute minutes to do your training. The other error that that users would typically face is out of memory error. So the error. So over here. So I'll just go into another training. So over here, the status, it will just simply be out of memory error. And then we will like have a tooltip to say that, hey, can you try to reduce your batch size to a lower value? Things like that. Yeah. So we typically only see these two errors. Some of the other, so we actually do lots of due diligence to do your data processing, to do data cleanliness check, just to ensure that things like that do not happen in the backend where we actually process your data for training.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yep. Yeah. So once you actually started training, this is actually the same exact view that you'll be greeted with, which is we actually closely model this after a TensorBoard. So it should be familiar to some of our more experienced user. Yeah. So similarly to TensorBoard, the orange line represents the training, and then the blue line actually represents the evaluation. So for the evaluation of the model, we're actually using Coco Evaluator, which will actually produce this 12 different metrics for you to validate the performance of the model. And then we also support things like smoothing, typically things that you will see on a TensorBoard model. Yeah.
So here you live like a very good view on like, is this the performance that I expect? Is this should I give it more epochs? Like, but this gives you a good overview on what is coming out for the evaluation.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly right. This I think the monitoring chart helps with identifying whether is your model converging, whether things like are there any overfitting that is kicking in, or things like to choose which checkpoint to deploy. Yeah. So the individual dots that you see here are all the checkpoint locations for the model. So users further down the road will be able to choose like the specific checkpoint to actually deploy the model. So maybe like at this checkpoint, the model actually performed the best, and they can actually choose this specific checkpoint to deploy. Yeah. Okay. So once you complete the training, we can actually hit on to the last tab, which is the artifact tab. And this is the part where we actually checkpoint the model. So if you recall just now, I actually selected like lowest evaluation loss. Users can actually select like the highest accuracy, things like that. All of the checkpoint of the model will be reflected at the artifact page. So once you're here, you then can proceed on to either downloading a model or to actually use some of our tools to help with hosting. Yeah. So if you see here, we actually have generate TensorFlow. Okay, and once you generate it, yeah. So similarly, once you click generate model, you can, just exit the platform and come back later. You will be able to see your model being deployed. Yeah. And so once the model gets successfully converted to a TensorFlow model, and this is what you will see. You will see the model key that you can use to help with hosting of the model. Okay. So right now the way to actually use this model is, firstly, you are able to just directly download the model, and we will pass you the TensorFlow model, and you can do whatever you want with it. The next thing that the next method is to actually use some of our open source tools to help with it. Okay, so
today you don't host a deployed model. Hosting is
Yeah.
let's say, a concern that the client needs to solve, which is also typically very dependent on their context and their infrastructure. Right?
Yeah. So hosting right now is we do it for our enterprise customer, but we are planning to push the hosting by end of second quarter, start of third quarter this year. So if I were to go back to workflow, you will see that part of the operation block, we actually have two features that is up and coming. One which is to deploy the model as API, and then second is to do this thing we call like human in the loop, or like adaptive learning, whereby a subset of your predicted data can actually come back into our platform, which will be stored separately, and then users from time to time can come in, correct the mispredictions, and then send it to the model for retraining again to improve like the robustness and to improve like the performance of the model in general. Yeah, so these are the two key features to look out for. Yeah.
Maybe a question, because you showed the assets overview with the different checkpoints. Oh, sorry, the artifacts. Artifacts called.
Okay. Yeah. Artifact.
And what I was wondering, like, if, let's say, for example, a checkpoint 6, like, are you able also to show the workflow that was used to generate checkpoint 6?
Yes. So you are able to route backwards. So you are able to, from the artifact, you're able to visit the run, and from the run, you're able to visit the flow that you use to conduct the training.
So the artifacts is really like the basically the versioning, the concept, your concept of versioning. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can think of it as the versioning of like the models itself, specific epoch. Yeah.
If I would in between change this flow that I have, will it still show me the old flow, or will it show me the new flow?
Yeah, so the old flow will be saved with the run.
Okay.
So once you click back, it will actually show you the old flow, but you can continue to modify the old flow, and then it will just be updated accordingly. Yeah, but the run will be tagged onto the flow that you ran with it. Yeah. Okay. So as you can see here, the artifact has already been converted to a model. So yeah. So as I was saying, we have a few open source, or rather, we are going to open source a few resources that are able to help users with deployment. So the first one I'd like to bring your attention to is actually our resources repo, where over here you'll find prediction scripts to directly interface with your downloaded model itself. And then also we will also have like Jupyter notebooks for some of our other users. The same thing to directly integrate or interface with the downloaded TensorFlow model. Yeah. Then other than that, we are trying to reduce the number of codes, essentially, in order for you to deploy a model that is trained on Datature platform. So we have this thing called a Datature Hub. So what this is essentially is going to be a third-party library that it can import into your own Python script. So I'll just be showing a short live demonstration. Okay, so what happened is I'll just import some of the most common third-party libraries. Okay, but over here you can actually import our Datature Hub library. Then we can import Model Hub. So what this actually does is, if you are using our Model Hub, we can directly fetch your trained model from our platform directly without any manual intervention. All you actually need to do is to key in the model key that you've seen on our platform, and we can actually just bring the model down to your local instance for you and then host it. Yeah. So this is mainly catered towards like those people that want to do edge computing, or like want to deploy the model on robotics platform, things like that. So I'll just quickly demonstrate. Okay, then of course I'll just import in functions, and then yeah. So unfortunately my computer is not strong enough to do prediction with the GPU, so I'll just do it on the CPU. So this line is just for CPU. And then, okay, so over here I have 3 images for tests. Okay, so I'll just show this 3 images that I have. So I have these 3 images. Just so these are definitely not part of the training data set that I've uploaded. Okay, so I'll just call it like test folder. Test images, and then I'll just have just an output folder. I'll just call it like predicted images. Yeah, so over here you see that the predicted images is empty. And then what I'll just do is really just to use our model hub. So I'll just call model hub.model, and then what the user actually just need to key in is 2 things: a model key and then a project secret key. So a model key, which actually you can grab from here. So let me just just grab this one. Just need to copy and paste. Paste, and then I'll just do, and then another project secret key. So where the users can find the project secret key is under their API management. Okay, where there is just a project secret key that you can generate, and then is to help with is for authentication purposes. Yeah. So of course, you can once you refresh the page, the project key will be hidden away again, and then the old key will be lost if you forgot the key, and it will invalidate all the existing deployment that you have with that previous key, and you have to generate a new key if you want. Okay, so I'll just generate again just to show. Okay, so next I'll just have the trained model to be loaded onto the platform, onto my local com, which just loads here for record model, and then you will want to load the label map as well. So what we are really going for is to try to train set up the whole prediction pipeline in less than 20 lines of code. So I'll just do a quick, just to look through the images. The path join test folder with yeah. So I can put tensor. We also have a function to load the image, and then we can then get the predictions. Detection output goes to train model, and then we just need to feed in. Yeah. So then subsequently, let's say if you want to visualize predicted will be equals to, let's say if we want to visualize the bounding box. So at any steps, developers can, just they don't have to follow every steps that I'm showing. Sometimes they just want to have like the output bounding box and then integrate with their own existing applications. That's fine as well. But right now I'm just showing the end-to-end steps to produce the predicted image. So let's just do each image, and we just feed in the predicted bounding box, the label map, as well as a threshold for the confidence level. Okay, so right now I will then save the image. So I'll just maybe have a file name, a base name, each image. We will just save the image. Okay. Predicted. And then lastly, the last step is to just save it. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Intuitive.
Yeah. So basically, this is all is required to do to save the image, to really fetch the model, load it onto your local instance, and then just to run the prediction and to save the output. Sorry. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So what's happening now is loading, and then after which we can actually see the predictions. Yeah. So
and we get like an original TensorFlow model as if you would have used pure TensorFlow.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I can actually show what happened if you actually download the model.
So that means that you're not, I like that very much, like you're not dependent on the platform for the steps that happen after. Like you can basically make sure that you host it in a way that you see fit, that it interacts with other services in a way that you see fit, and you're not forced to work with something. Like you get advice, like this Python file that you now use and the resources, but you're not forced to use a specific way to deploy this.
Yeah, so we are really trying to be more like a developer first approach, where we don't like, but that being said, we do try to offer or push more features out to help people with hosting. But of course, if developers, they just think that we are only able to help them up to this step, and they would like to carry on their journey themselves, that's fine with us as well. But we also push out more features to actually help them with the rest of the way, such as like hosted deployment, things like that. Okay, so once we
convenience utilities, but you still allow people to get to the core of what they're building.
Yes. Yep. Cool. So yep. So here is the predicted output.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So of course, what I'm showing you today is not exactly like fully no code, right? So I would say it's still low code for the prediction end, but our immediate I'll just share a slide. Let me just share a slide.
And because you were showing the predicted images, and it seems that there are classes there, like because you said classification is currently not supported.
Yeah. So for the bounding box and the segmentation models, they actually come with the classification as well. So both object detection and segmentation will be classification. It will do classification and it will do localization. But for classification, it will not do localization. Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah. But there is actually classification, but it's not just as a job on its own. Like it comes with segmentation or detection.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So over here you can see the individual class as well as the confidence score that goes with it as well. Yeah.
Nice.
So if it's a segmentation model, then it will just be a mask that covers like the object. Yeah. Okay. So allow me to just share the slides. I'll just share part of our development roadmap. Yeah. Yeah. So as I was saying, what I showed today through our open source hub that manage models and load models is not truly no code. It's, I would say, still low code. So that's one point of argument that people tend to bring up. So in order to really be pure no code, right? What we are strongly pushing out is really two things, which is the hosted deployment to help people to productionize their model. So this will be it will be exposed as a API endpoint that users can query for prediction services. Then another thing is we are also pushing out this a no-code model inference tool. So it will be like a spin-off from our interface that so instead of a training, right, you can see it as like a full platform to do prediction that we will be calling that we are calling it a portal platform. And we actually aim to open source this piece so that users can actually easily do model predictions and and to review the model performance through the no-code tool itself, and they don't even have to code out the whole prediction pipeline itself.
Okay.
Then, of course, lastly, we are also looking to continue to work on our workflow graph to do more complex configurations, such as like diamond shape augmentation setup,
Okay.
or even to really customize the layers of the model itself, such as like the number of layers to freeze, the number of layers to unfreeze, things like that. So we are really trying to bump up the complexity so that we allows developers to really have full control of what they really want to train. Yeah.
Okay. Clear.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And what I was wondering, let's say for me, you're a software as a service, platform as a service.
Yeah.
For let's say more corporate customers, do you provide something like, can they deploy in their own private cloud or in a multi-tenancy setup or?
So we actually do provide both like the subscription based services, which is more of like the self-serve customer. But we also actually have this project-based business, more of like it's more towards like a turnkey, slight turnkey solutions, whereby some customers they would prefer like on-prem solutions, for example. So one of the customers that we dealt with was Rolls-Royce. So the aviation data that they dealt with was very sensitive. It was they could not even leave the data could not even leave the compound. So we actually went in to set up an on-prem version of our platform, as well as also to provide some custom front end for them to interface. So we do provide such services to our enterprise client as well.
That's nice to hear. And is it really like, is it a similar experience to the user as the hosted version? Like, do they see the same workflow editor, or is it really something that is ad hoc at the moment?
Yeah. So I would say that the feature wise is usually on parity, but sometimes when we deal with some enterprise customers that request for some special features, for example, like the video processing that one of the viewer was asking about. So when we developed that piece for the enterprise, we will consider whether is it a good piece that we feel that the public, the masses will also want it, and if it's such a feature, then we'll actually integrate it into our main offering for the self-serve customer as well. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Like, how do you tackle this? Like, what are the techs, let's say, or what are the main building blocks, if you can tell us, that enable you to have your cloud infrastructure, but also say, let's deploy this on-prem or let's deploy this on a customer cloud, I can imagine. Like what are the big things that you take into account then from a technological perspective to do this? Like,
So we do tend to try and containerize like our infrastructure such that is can be easily deployed on-prem or for our enterprise customer. And then we also try our best to sort of like segregate the different services from each other. So example, like the annotations, it can be plugged out as a piece for enterprise customer A, right? Then for the training piece, it can be plugged out and then give it to enterprise customer B, things like that. So we try to really containerize and segregate the individual offering, and then offer it to the enterprise based on what they need, things like that. But then, of course, for our for the general masses, we then integrate all these pieces together, and then to present it as an end-to-end platform for everyone.
Do you? But let's say tomorrow, like, what are the requirements for a company if they want this internally? Like, do you set the limit somewhere where you say, like, for example, if you don't do Kubernetes and you don't do containers, with a certain set of technologies, do you say, okay, like, we're not going to try to serve these people because we just can't, like, it doesn't fit our model, or what's the?
So for the enterprise customer, we tend to go for like sort of a subscription deal, part subscription deal. So these companies will actually pay for our 499 plan, which is I can just roughly show here. Yeah. So we do see that most customers, most enterprise customers right now actually go for the more professional plan. So what happened is they will actually use our training platform as it is, but then we actually build additional connectors for them. So things like we actually build custom front end for them, and then we actually do like the hosted deployment, and then we just integrate the two piece together. So not only they are paying, so they will pay for the subscription, the 499 subscription, cause like they want their in-house developers to continue to do training. They want their engineers to be equipped with the knowledge to train models. But then we also develop the front end for the ease of use to really help them to make use of the models that they train. Yeah. So that is I would say that's the most common arrangement that we have with our enterprise customers.
Right.
For the professional pricing here, like, is it also based on the number of developers or collaborators, we call it, or is it purely based on resource consumption, the minute GPU training?
So I would say that right now the way that customer usually so for our professional plan we allow up to 5 collaborators.
Okay.
So right now usually what happens is a developer team, maybe one person will subscribe to the 499 plan, and then subsequently the collaborators can actually sign up for like a free plan and then be added in as a collaborator to tap on the resources. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. I think pricing wise is a good deal. Like if this is like annotation training of these models, like if it's one of the core things you do, like this it's very hard to beat this pricing. If you start setting up stuff up by yourself.
Yeah. So we are actually looking to push out a new price plan, like add on a new price plan, which is $49 a month. So we realized that there are also some customers out there that just want to do like short-term projects, right? Like hackathons, short projects, proof of concepts, things like that. So we are actually going to push out like a $49 plan to cater to this group of people, so that it's actually more accessible for them to give our platform a try and to build whatever computer vision projects that they may have for a short-term period.
Yeah, I think as a way to get people to enter the platform makes a lot of sense. But I think for a company whose core really is around these type of models, like the 499 plan, it should be fine. You get so much out of the box for this.
Yeah, so I think for us, I mean, pricing is still a journey for us, but so far we gotten quite a good feedback for the 499 plan, because that's the plan that the enterprise customer feel that they are getting their worth, as well as we allow collaboration to occur without forcing them to, let's say, like sign additional 499 plan. Yeah. So I think that's the key thing that they like about it. Yeah. Then lastly, I would just want to share that we'll have also provided we have also started a affiliate program. So we are also looking for people that wants to advocate for this, like we feel that we call this like the no code revolution. That we are looking for people to really push this message out, and get more people to try our platform. So we are also looking for people to join this affiliate program of ours. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Good to know. Maybe last question that I had is a bit more long-term roadmap wise. Is like, what are your plans, not for this year but for the coming 5 years? Is it really like to niche down on this computer vision part of it, to really build out a full workflow, or to say at some point like we also want to tackle other types of models, not necessarily computer vision models?
So I think the long term target, or the long term dream, is, it doesn't change from now, is to democratize computer vision access. So we really see it such that last time when websites first came out, then everyone start to learn how to program their own website, right? But then you start to see a wave of like no code platform like Webflow or like Wix.com that comes to help people to just build website without any single line of code. And so we feel that for the computer vision, I would say the computer vision field is also heading towards the same behavior, where you see people start to equip themselves with knowledge to build like computer vision framework from scratch, but eventually it will still be moved to a no code space. So of course, people with knowledge would also benefit in the sense that they can build more complex projects with their knowledge through these no code tools. And for novice user, we also lower the entry barrier for them to try. So interestingly, a lot, I would say 70% of our enterprise customer are more towards the traditional industries like aerospace, maritime. I mean, agriculture is not really like agriculture, things like that, such industries. And then we also have like maybe 30% that comes from research labs, research institutes, and things like that. So we feel that the no code scene will really help to cater towards these two industries. And we do see like 5 years from now, we do hope that the platform we are able to train highly complex, highly customized models, so that people can really fully explore like whatever they want to do, be it like maybe training a computer vision model for autonomous driving, for example, things like that. Highly high tech stuff, high complexity stuff, we are able to do it through our no code platform.
Sounds cool. The future is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Where can maybe to round this up, where can people follow the news, releases, interesting features, like when there's news about Datature, what are the best channels to follow?
Yeah, so you can visit our website at datature.io. Otherwise, we are very active on LinkedIn as well, and Twitter. If you like, you can actually join our community Slack group. As I said, we are trying to develop a strong community on our Slack group, where people can just come aboard and chit chat with each other. You don't just have to chit chat with the developers. Feel free to chit chat with other people that are using us to build different type of computer vision models. Maybe you will find your business partner there, or like your team there as well. So that is really some of the channels that you can reach out to us.
Nice. Okay, cool. Anything else that you want to share in this?
Something you would have missed in this presentation?
Yeah, I think that's more or less what we are offering right now. But we do hope that more people can join this no code revolution. If you are a novice user or even someone that's very experienced, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm always happy to listen to everyone's computer vision use case, and hopefully Datature can be part of their journey.
All right.
Okay. So thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Denzel, for presenting Datature. Super interesting platform. And we'll make sure to add all the details so people can follow to the show notes. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See everyone next time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.